We don't see a lot of these around here. Single cam Civic. This came in having a bad idle. It had 4 codes. It had a P1509, P0108, 0122, and 0113. So we went through, diagnosed the wiring. One thing we found is the crank fluctuation sensor. The wiring had rubbed through on the belt. Idle sitting at 810, 820. A bit of a stumble right there. Yeah. What do the plugs look like in this thing? Plugs look pretty good. We just checked them. Checked the gap on them. The timing was way off, but now it seems to be idling happy, and it's got quite a bit more pep than it had. It certainly starts a little slow, doesn't it?
Yeah, the battery's not on either.
Idle sounds good now. A little bit of timing in it, it's definitely going to pep it up. So this right now is 16 degrees. You see it's fully advanced. The distributor was fully retarded before we started adjusting it, which is probably close to 0. So that would explain why it was so lazy. So definitely going to feel better. So I won't give you all the details, but his other car was a Civic with a K-swap, bought off a friend of ours, and unfortunately got into a wreck, totaled the car, and what really sucked is he still owed money on the car, and the insurance took it off him and he didn't have the money to buy it back, so he'd lost it. So that was pretty devastating. Well, we're not going to give him a bill. I think he deserves a break. We have about 2 hours wrapped up in this, plus a little bit of parts. Not a big deal. So this one's on the house, buddy. This is a 2020 Civic Si, and it's here for a clutch. Well, if you're familiar with these cars, you know that they usually smoke the factory clutch with factory horsepower. This customer is almost certainly going to do an upgrade with our friend Fairable. He's going to do one of their stage 1 or stage 2 packages, but first thing, it needs a clutch because it's slipping pretty bad. So we've done this before, but we're going to show you the clutch that we're doing in this. It's the Type R clutch, basically the OEM clutch complete kit, and then you use the flywheel from RV6. So this is essentially a retrofit flywheel. This is going to bolt to the engine, and that allows you to run the factory Type R clutch. You can run a Type R aftermarket clutch too, but the factory clutch is so good, and it's a nice pedal pressure, feels nice, runs like a normal clutch, but it holds over 400 foot-pounds of torque. Pressure plate, a disc, pilot bearing, and release bearing. This is all genuine Honda stuff. I'll show you the part numbers at the end of the video. That is overloaded, Esther.
It is not.
It's so overloaded. So if you don't know, we've rebuilt this thing for Esther like 3 or 4. They got a good shot of your butt there.
Oh, thanks.
And she's burnt this thing up again, I think. We put a new bearing in this.
It's not burnt.
That bit. What did you What's going wrong right now, though?
This is not working because you really, it's something's up with the...
What operates it? Those switches?
No, it's this right here. There's a switch under here.
There. My base is a little different. I just bought one of these because I saw how much Esther abuses it.
All right. Yeah. So you want, if she can do it, this is all like cracked and stuff. So if there is somebody watching from Blendtech, send us a Blendtech blender.
I think I'm gonna push the smoothie button.
This one is a Ninja.
You could put red. Are you kidding me? The Blendtech kills it. You could put the Ninja in the Blendtech and blend it, eat it. It's that good for Ron.
No, it's not. Ready? Ooh, look at it first time.
It's working. Look how full it is. See that? There is no air gap in the top. It's supposed to be down like here.
Right there. Look.
But it's supposed to be less than that. That's why it doesn't work.
Usually it fights me, and these little...
Don't put your fingers
right
in the
here.
It's still spinning.
I didn't.
We need to figure out how to bypass the safety switch so you can just run it in there.
Yeah.
The motor sounds good though. It's just the switches are bad, I think.
It's
We can fix it.
working every time. It's because it's on in the camera. It's working.
If you had a Blendtech, we could put your name right here. Your name would be here in the videos.
Look at that. See how perfect that is? And there's plenty of room in there.
Quite delicious.
There's plenty of
I
room.
would say what's in it, but you always disguise the voice when I say what you put in it, so
Yeah.
nobody ever knows. Alright, so everything is back together. Esther didn't wait for my prompt.
That's all right.
If you could go ahead and start the car, Esther. Oh, that's right, you already did.
You didn't tell me to wait.
Alright, you want to feel the clutch?
Start the car.
Feel that nice and soft, the clutches.
Very nice.
Isn't that incredibly light?
It feels like nothing.
It's unbelievable how light that clutch is.
Is it connected, really?
Yeah, it really is. We wouldn't do that to you. So I said he had an oil change done and they left this cover loose, and then it got hit with something on the road, which, as you can see, it's got some scarring right here. I think I'm going to try to straighten this. This needs to be straight across here. It attaches to that cover right there. So I'll go ahead and fix this. We'll get this thing put back on.
Hi.
This guy.
How you doing?
All right, we're going to go ahead and try this. The clutch has normal travel.
It seems to.
I'll put the e-brake on. Oh, you just love the electric e-brakes. No, I miss the old school mechanical one. That's smooth. Smooth as silk. That is awesome. This is good to know for people that are thinking about doing this, because nobody wants to do an aftermarket clutch unless you have to. Aftermarket clutches always have a drawback. All of them do. I keep saying this. We sell a lot of Clutch Masters and ACT. Either one has a drawback in one way or another. You just got to find a clutch that has the least drawbacks that you can live with. All right, so I just drove this car too, and that clutch is super soft. It's just amazing it'll hold 400 foot-pounds of torque when it's that light. So this car is going to get tuned. It's going to go to our friend John, and maybe we'll do an update on this. I don't know if he wants to bring it here and have it done and then possibly put it on the dyno, but if we see it again, we'll show you it on the video. I managed to get space grease on my phone case and I cannot get it off. I've tried like 5 different things getting it off. So I think it's time to give it a pressure wash. See if I can get this off. This is my favorite case, by the way. If you're looking for case recommendations, this would be it from me. There you go, mint. We're doing an oil change on this S2000. We built this car a year and a half ago, and it still looks fantastic. It just sucks he's had to drive here in the rain. It's a miserable day out there. We're going to show you what else we've got coming up here in a second, but we're going to drain the oil, look it over, and make sure everything is happy. If you don't have this tool, you absolutely have to get it. We sell it in the store, but we use it every single day. Not only does it make it much easier to take your oil filter off, it gives you the ability to torque the oil filter back on as per Honda's recommendations, less chance of it coming loose and causing an issue. But we sell this in the store, fits your Honda filter perfectly. So this is the new Honda oil filter right here. It's by Mall, and a lot of people freaked out because this was the original filter that we're all so used to, and I like it too, mainly because it's the nice color I'm used to, and I've been using it for years. But Honda has chose to use this one, and I wouldn't say I am worried about it, because if Honda chose it, they chose it for a reason. Not to mention, these guys make most of the oil coolers that we've seen, like the NSX and the Corvettes. That company makes the oil coolers, so it's not like they are a new company in town. The Black S2000 has done something a little different behind my truck right here. What do you think it is? Any guesses? It's an FL5 Type R. So he brought this here on this awful, yucky, rainy day. He's getting new brake lines and new brake fluid. It's kind of hard to see on the camera. This, let me change the settings. Makes it look baby blue in this light, but it's not. It's actually a kind of a pastel blue. I think they call this Boost Blue. Very pretty color. If you haven't seen one of these cars, I'll do it just a basic walk around. Has a massive trunk, and the 3 exhaust tips are the opposite of the FK8. It has the larger tip in the middle, 2 small ones on the outside. This car is definitely tamed down from the FK8. It's almost like the FK8 styling. They put it all the way to level 10, and they turned this one down to level 3. Which is not a bad thing. I just think somewhere in the middle might have been my choice if I could adjust that styling knob. But this one is a little softer, a little bit more roundy, a little bit more more of a refined, mature look, I guess I would say.
There's more room up here too.
There's a huge amount of room here as opposed to the other one. Last time we did one of these, we were working over here. Everything was very, very tight. I think the cross member was up here on the other one.
All the way to here.
Yeah, because getting to these shields and this was really tight. This one has a ton of room, so obviously making it moddable makes a difference. This is actually an active scoop now. Remember the other one I don't think was open here. This is actually pulling air in from the front of the car here through this grill, passing it through the hood. And of course it went to a 19-inch wheel. The FK8 was a 20, and almost everybody changed the wheel to a 19 or an 18 so they can get a bit more tire on it. 265, 30, 19s on the front. I believe it's the same size on the back. The Pilot 4S tires, 265, 30, 19. A lot of tire. Huge amount of tire for a car this size. So there we go. Let's get the wheels off. Take a look at the brakes. It does have massive brakes. That's one of those things that when you're building a car, a lot of people are complaining that these are 44 grand. They say, well, that's a lot of money for a Civic. Well, if you buy almost any Civic, put some kind of power adders, do the suspension, do the brakes, put a new paint job, put nice interior, it's really, really easy to spend 50 grand. Trust me, I've done it so many times. That's one of the reasons I try and buy new cars now, just because paint jobs are so expensive. That's one of those things that really eats you up. So while this one is going on getting brake lines, we have another one over here, and it's here for one main reason, and it's for a VTEC solenoid assembly. These are very common for the VTEC solenoid leaking. I'm going to stand behind this fan because it's going to get real noisy when I stand in front of it. Ready? I'm going to block the wind. So this is a very common problem with these. They leak oil. Now the first thing we do, we always recommend try the cheap things first before you jump in and spend money. Replace the gasket on this. I would say 25% of the time that fixes the issue. If that doesn't fix it, we found that the only way to fix it is to replace the whole VTEC solenoid assembly. There is a gasket available now for this top half, but our experience, that's not usually the issue. The aluminum gets porous and they leak internally, which really sucks. So the only real way is to replace the whole solenoid assembly, which I'll show you here in a second. This car also has a check engine light. I'm going to go ahead and plug in and see what it is, and then kind of do you a quick diagnosis the way we would do it to find out what that is. So of course, it's going to have the light illuminated right here. So we're going to plug in, pull the codes, see what it is, and then I'm going to give you a couple of options of how to find out where to go once I see what that tells me. So this should be under here if it's an 02 and up right here. If it's the 2000, it's on the other side. I'm looking through the camera. Let's go ahead and pull the codes. All right, so we're coming up with EFAP, control system leakage fuel tank. 2 codes. Second one is basically the same thing. It's fuel system. So this is pretty common on Hondas. The first thing you're going to do is check your gas cap. So if you didn't know about your S2000, this is your little pull tab for your gas cap right here. So first thing we're going to do is check the gas cap. And there's our issue right there. You see that? That is a seal. See, it's cracked. That means it is not sealing against this. Once you've checked the gas cap, another common problem that we'll start to see is if the seal looks like it's in good shape, it should look like a nice round ring that fits in there. You might see corrosion in here. And what happens is as you tighten this cap, it will actually tighten on the thread. You'll start to feel it get tight, and then you get the clicks. And then you will find that if you turn it slowly, sometimes you can get it another half turn without it clicking because it actually sticks on these threads right here. So the cheap fix is to put a little bit of grease around here, just a thin smear on here, kind of wipe it and then wipe it off. It just takes away some of the friction on these threads. Honda tell you to replace this whole neck and the cap together. But in this case, it's pretty obvious. It needs that gas cap. There's a new solenoid right here. This is the part number. But like I say, it tends to just leak everywhere. At first, you think it's coming from this sensor here. It kind of looks like oil comes out the sensor, and then it looks like here. So we've tried to replace the sensor and replace the O-ring. The problem is everything gets saturated in oil. This oil drips down into this hose, and it will actually damage that hose without those hoses actually burst because the oil has filled them and made them saturate. This is soaked in oil. That's what makes you think the sensor's leaking, because this tends to have oil on the inside. It just it really sucks because I questioned this so many times. I would say there's no way aluminum is leaking, and the only way to fix it is to replace the whole thing. So that's not a bag, it's sealed. So the good news is it comes with a new sensor, a new seal, new plug. Everything is brand new. This is very, very light boxes though. What do you think, 6 pounds?
Yeah.
That probably weighs more than that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You got more coming?
One more.
Beautiful Tycon titanium coming. What do you guys think it's coming for? I think we've got a project in the works. What is this right here? Oh no, George! George! Your little box came in. The little one's for George this time. What do you think it is? You can't read the label because then you'll guess. You're supposed to.
I gotta like cheat a little bit.
You're supposed to just look at it and go, I know what that is.
Type of coupler or something.
I think it's close.
Huh?
It's close. Alright, I gotta put this guy back on. I ain't shown you on video for a while, just want to let everyone know you're still...
I'm still around.
You're still delivering.
It's just I got old and slow. Can't hang out there.
Just... Well, UPS are also saying, can you do 200 packages a day instead of 198?
So now I gotta
Could you do twice as many? Could you do that for us?
always.
Yeah. Alright, I want to put this back on and this car is done. Alright, so the new lines are on. We flushed it through with some cleaner first, which is a basic synthetic cleaner, and then run his fluid through there. So we got all of his 600 Motol in there. What sucked is our bleeder system, the cap popped off right here, and blue fluid right here. Luckily it's synthetic, but it's always good to wipe it off before it sits. Wheels are back on, everything is torqued. We'll do a quick test drive just up the parking lot here, make sure the brakes are nice and hard. We'll activate ABS just so it can cycle itself, and this one's good to go. We'll call the customer and he can pick it up. So running the ABS is always a good thing to try, because one, it'll run the system and it activates ABS, which makes sure it does like an internal bleed. We do like a 2-stage bleed. We use our pressure bleeder to bleed it, and then we do it the old school way to make sure there's absolutely no way air can get pulled back into the system. It's a little bit extra time, but it's always good to make sure. Sometimes the pressure bleeders don't work as good as the old school ways. Everything's working. All right, let's call him. Today is Saturday. We just went for a drive around. Me and Sebastian drove and came by. Jeff just stopped by. This is Jeff's car. This used to be my car. Really, really nice. It's when I had the idea to have 3 S2000s and realized I couldn't afford it. I wanted one supercharged, one turbo, and one naturally aspirated. But I changed my mind and I sold this to Jeff. Super nice car. He's actually taking my car for a quick test drive right there. He's just coming back. I'm just convincing Jeff that he needs to put a turbo on his car. So he's driving our car. Our car makes 400 horsepower and 300 foot-pounds.
That's pretty impressive.
It's fun, isn't it? This is the first production pieces for our emblem alignment tool. It fits absolutely perfect. We wanted to test it a few times and make sure it's money. This is what's interesting. So many people look at this S and it doesn't look like there's a top or a bottom because it kind of looks symmetrical. But when you turn it over, you immediately see it just looks a little odd. But if you're a body shop, you don't see these cars, you know, you can't blame those guys. They work on everything. They put them on upside down and look, it doesn't go back in the template. It's not quite right. This tail is a little longer than this. So when it's the right way around, it fits in there like a jigsaw puzzle. Also, this is shaped to fit this light, this taper. Everything is designed to fit. Good news is our friend Jeff that does all of our design and has a really nice 3D scanner so he can scan every profile. And this, the backside of these fixtures are actually angled to match the fender. I'm going to do a dedicated video to these so you know exactly how to put everything on. But if you buy the new letters or the used letters, we can make this work. But I'm excited about this because I think it's going to fix a lot of cars that you see this kind of thing or this kind of thing goes on the body shop, or even worse when people do that. I put a couple of pictures on Instagram, but these are the titanium tips we're making. As you see, they are double walled, so it has a bit of a bevel there. It looks a little bit more like a factory tip, looks a bit more substantial than just sheet metal. And it's for our new project car that's coming. I'm excited about this, and it's not something that's really, really elaborate or crazy. It's not a Porsche or an NSX or anything like that. But I'm excited about it because it's something that I think is going to be good for us and good for the channel, and it has a lot to do with my background. So hopefully you guys will be excited too. It should be here any day now. Thank you again to Tycon for all the amazing material. We didn't get sponsored on this build. Honestly, I didn't want to ask for it because I asked for it on our S2000 and they're always really good to us. I want to give them exposure without always trying to get something off them. So we have the straight material, we have some bends, we have the material to build tips, we have a boost activated valve if that gives it a little bit of a hint. But Tycon, thank you so much. We did pay for this, but I want to give you guys a shout out because you guys are good people. So we're building this car behind me right now. He's getting a whole bunch of like new OEM parts, a new clutch, and a new soft top, which if you can see by the light, and the soft top is done. It's brand new OEM top. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the videos. If you do, give us a subscribe and hit the like on the way out, and we'll see you on the next video.